Well, hello there. Welcome to Women Around a Table Eating Food. We're Nick and Jen, therapist and writer, partners in crime, and lifelong best friends. Around here, WTF means what the food. And it's our excuse to go deep, get real, and share the kind of messy conversations that usually stay between us and a plate of something delicious. So sit back, grab a bite, and join our conversation. Hey girl, hey, you got food in your mouth.
Hey girl, hey. I did. And so I'm glad that you hey girled us and not me. And I'm also realizing that I think I need to not eat. I'm totally going against women around table eating food, but I feel like I have some crunchy things in my salad here, and all I can hear in my ears are my own teeth up against
Really?
vegetables. Can you hear it?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you chewing at all.
Oh, well,
No,
then I'm gonna fucking
no
finish my
mouth
food then.
sounds.
Thank goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes, that would be terrible. I
What
actually
are,
forget the
what are you
word.
eating?
Huh. Well, my amazing husband the other day asked me if I wanted some tuna. And that's kind of a dicey question for me because I don't like the mayo. And
Hmm.
but I really wanted some food. Um, so he was standing in the doorway of my office and I said, well, no, I'll fix something for myself later. It's okay. You go and make your tuna. And he said, no. And so he was trying to encourage me. And I said, well, but I don't like the mayo. And he said, I was going to do it with oil and vinegar. And I said, will you make it with my homemade vinaigrette, the house vinaigrette that we have? And he said,
Hmm.
yeah, I guess I can do that. So long and short, it is a mixture of tuna with my house-made vinaigrette.
Oh.
Thanks to Ms. Gwyneth Paltrow in her first cookbook, because Goop, not a sponsor, not opposed. Ms. Paltrow, oh my gosh, I love the first cookbook where she's talking all about her dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tuna mixed with white beans and spinach and tomatoes and pickled onions and regular onions and my dressing and some hot red pepper paste.
Yum.
Yeah, it's quite scrumptious. And it's probably good that we're not in the same space because if I had to breathe all over you, you would say, girl, turn away.
Turn
Turn
your
yourself
mouth
away.
away.
And what do you have in your glass?
So I had, when we were chatting before we got on here, I had just a nice salad of arugula, some slaw, some cabbage, and a um, a chicken salad. So with some vegan mayo and some sweet pickles and things like that. That was
Yum.
round one, and now I have the rest of my protein shake from this morning that I'm having.
Two
Um,
lunches,
yeah, like
kind of.
muscles need my protein. But
They
I
do.
have been dying to tell you about my new favorite thing.
Oh my gosh.
So, for my birthday on
Which was Tuesday,
which was
everybody. Nick
Tuesday.
is Nick has entered the we're both the same age
I
now,
mean, we're
too.
both
Like
we're
for
both
like
50 years
we're both
old.
50 years old
We
for
can
like three
kick and we can
months.
punch.
That's
Uh,
right.
so I had a, leadership retreat at my boss's house on Monday. And I saw a lovely
Hello. Hi.
hello.
Hi, Miss
Look
Tracy.
who's here.
Wow, this is so fun.
This
This
is
is so
so
wonderful.
fun.
For
Yay.
anybody who is not seeing us on the YouTube, our wonderful guest just arrived and she just popped onto our screen and it was beautiful. And I'm so sorry that I was literally mid-mouthful. I
I'm
apologize.
like, oh, we actually are gonna eat. I have
Yeah,
my
If you
oh,
wish. Yep. Atta
yes.
girl.
Yes. I
yeah.
love that. I was actually just telling Jen one of my new favorite things before we get started, which is I got this new mug from I was at this leadership retreat at my boss's house and she was drinking out of this just like ceramic black mug, and it was one of those ones that keeps your coffee hot.
Oh.
It's called Ember.
Yes.
And it just like I don't know why it just made me so happy. And I'm like coveting this mug while I said, does it really work? And Gina said it absolutely works. And so when I got home, there was a mug at my doorstep.
Aw.
You're kidding. Like
No.
when you got home from the
Hmm.
retreat,
Yeah.
what'd she do? Drive over and drop you off one?
She like ordered it online and had it like door dashed to my house.
What?
Yes. And
That's
it
so
is,
thoughtful.
isn't it? And it literally has brought me so much joy this week to drink out of my Eden mug.
Do you have it there
No, no,
with
it's at
you?
home. No.
Ember, not a
Yeah.
sponsor, not opposed,
Not
people.
opposed.
And
I just saw
also Gina. Oh, yo.
someone drinking out of one too, and I was like,
Oh,
oh, and I have my big old mug. Usually I have a cup that's cute and it keeps my hands warm. And this morning I put it in this to
Yes.
stay
yeah.
warm, and it's been so hot I can't even drink it. So
I
I'm like
know. That's the
waiting to
thing
Yeah.
drink it.
too with thermoses. Sometimes they keep them too hot and then you can't drink them. With
Yeah,
the Ember mug, it's the perfect temperature.
perfect
No
temperature.
way. Is it
Hmm.
really just ceramic?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. It's
that's
smooth and
amazing.
ceramic. It's the little things, I'm telling you.
It
I
is. It
know.
is. Well, I love that. Well, before I would definitely love to return to talking about all the things that we like to sip and keep us warm, but I want to introduce for folks who aren't seeing us on YouTube our amazing guest because now they hear your voice, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that you are here and who you are and how excited we are to have you, Ms. Tracy. Now, I have to say, pronounce your last name for us so that we
Both.
know? It is Hoth.
It
Okay.
rhymes with both. That's
With
what I
both.
tell
I
people.
just wanted to
Mhm.
make sure that it wasn't Hoth that rhymes with moth. And
I
as
know.
I was driving
Oh, you
around
weren't
this
supposed to
morning.
say that because now people will
No, all right.
they'll
Well,
think of it.
we'll edit it out. Don't
Yeah.
worry. It's Hoth, 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 Hoth. Okay. Um, well, we're thrilled to have you. We're so thrilled to have you here. And I want to introduce you a little bit here. And I apologize for not looking right at the camera, but I've got my little intro because Nick and I are so happy to welcome you, Ms. Tracy Hoth, to WTF. Tracy is a professional organizer, certified life coach, podcast host, and founder of her own consultancy, Simply Squared Away. And she has spent years, excuse me, helping women get out from under the overwhelm of all the stuff. But she doesn't do it with super scary or super disciplined, throw it all away energy. She has real compassion and practical tools. She has a course on her website. She does all the things to use her deep understanding of the why behind our clutter and the why our clutter just can make us feel so stuck in the first place. And Tracy, you can tell me if I mess any of this up. You started your business in 2008. You have worked in hundreds of homes, and now you combine your organizing know-how and your coaching in a way that really helps people become organized people, not just like feel organized for a moment, but become
Yeah.
organized people. And really, that's really why we wanted you here with us today, because for all of our fellow listening messy midlifers, especially, and Nick and I talk about this all the time, those of us who are starting to bump up against this very real emotional sort of wait, what do we do with all of this stuff? Those moments in our own lives, but also as we're trying to help our aging parents. And that's a place where Nick and I both are. So that's just what makes you feel like the perfect person to have on the podcast. And before I toss it to you, I also want to acknowledge that you are the first person who has reached out to us to ask to also consider being on our podcast because we had such similar thoughts and feelings and just our audience could be helped by the same type of information, and we feel so grateful that you even found us. So welcome and thank you, and we can't wait to dig in.
I know. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks so much for accepting my pitch
I know, I
and
loved it.
allowing me to be your first guest like that. Yeah, I'm so glad to be here and talk about organization anytime I can talk about it and make people feel like they understand really what it is and how to become the person who is organized so that
Yeah,
the things around them show that,
Yeah.
reflect it.
I love that. I love that because we I'm the oldest of two. My younger sister is developmentally delayed. My mom still takes care of her. They live together in the same space. My mother has always curated a lovely home. She
Mhm.
has. She is tidy. Everything has a place. I feel like I very gratefully observed that every time we had to move when I was little, she always was able to make the space feel homey and lived in,
Mhm.
and just it was, and it never seemed to take her very long to be able to do that. But
Mhm.
you know, as I think we all sort of realize, the more times we move, and I wrote this down, like downsizing rarely feels like, it's rarely about deciding what to keep. It's more about deciding what we want to take with us the next time, or how we want to carry things forward in life, right? And so with every move, you get a little bit more, you get a little bit more, you give away a little more, you donate a
Mhm.
little bit. And but it's all the emotion that's sort of tied up
Mhm.
in all of these things, which I think that Nick can probably really also speak to, because she's the therapist of the two of us and she's able to get into those kinds of things.
Mhm.
There wasn't really a question there. It was more
Oh,
just like a
yeah.
comment, like an, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, it brings up all these emotions, and you're having to make lots of decisions as you go through things and decide where you're going. And so that is, it's an undertaking, but it can be super exciting and super freeing, and you can feel very proud. I just had a client just yesterday talk about how she's just been doing 15 minutes and she's so proud of herself. And
Mhm.
hearing her say that, and she feels momentum. And I'm like,
Mm,
yes, it's those little things that make you feel proud. You feel like you have got some momentum, keeping moving toward the person and creating the home that you want to. It's very exciting.
Yeah. And
Nick, that feels a lot like, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, no, I was just going to say that I've often found that our environment and really is also reflective of our inner world and our emotional state and vice versa. They're so inextricably linked. So there's such an emotional component to it. So I know for myself, I cannot be in clutter. Like it makes me feel not grounded and things like that. So what I was thinking about when you were coming on, Tracy, is there is oftentimes a real struggle for people to let go of things and or to organize things differently. But particularly the holding on to things, right? From an emotional perspective, what are your thoughts on why people are holding on to things?
There's so many things that I go to. The thing that stands out first is that they think the memory is in the object.
Mm,
And so they
Mm,
have this memory, and the object is tied to that. And so an exercise you can do is just to write about the memory you have with the
mm,
thing that's there.
mm,
And that might help just separating it a little bit and deciding. The other thing that happens, I think, is if you don't know where you're going, you're kind of floundering around. And so
mm,
to be clear about where you're going is really helpful. So when all those emotions come up, you have a
mm,
filter to put the questions that you have, the decisions you have to make, because you know where you're going. So you know what kinds of things you need for that, what kinds of things support you in the life you want to live when it
mm,
comes to that. So the emotions and getting comfortable just feeling all those emotions and being
mm,
uncomfortable and letting something go that you've held on to and noticing how that makes you feel in that moment and accepting that and kind of holding the space for that to be
mm,
able to keep moving forward.
mm,
that's beautiful. It just is. It's just a beautiful way of looking at it. What what in your life, or how old were you when you realized that this was the kind of work that you wanted to do? And f- did you did you look at it with that same kind of grace and beauty that you just
mm,
described? Or was it just like, I
Oh,
just like my house to be neat?
yes, I think I was the neater one in our family, maybe growing up,
Okay.
but I didn't really think, organizing wasn't a thing back when I was a child. I noticed when I remember now, looking back, when I was 22, I moved to California with a friend of mine, and then we lived with her parents. And we went out to lunch with her neighbor or a lady, family friend. And so there were two moms and us two girls, and we went out to dinner or lunch and we went back to her house. And when then the mom and the other daughter left, and I was there with her. Her name was Sherry. And I thought back, what did we do? We just were, she was so fun. And I'm like, what did we do together? And I remember I helped her organize her pantry. I mean, I was
Oh.
22. I don't know why
Oh.
we did that, but looking back on that makes me laugh, thinking, okay, I must have said something, done something. She needed help. I don't know. And we did that. And then before I had kids, so I had my first kid when I was 28. Before we had kids, my husband and I drew a logo for a business of being squared away. And I had taken magazine
Squared
pictures and
away.
put them in a file of closets. Back then, it was like the closet companies were the only pictures that were out. And so I put those
Hmm.
pictures in a file. And I have never been into self-help. I always just went into someone's home, took action. I was an action taker. So I had a process, but I helped them and thought that I had to be there. Like in the middle of the mess, there's just no way they were going to be able to do it on their own. And in 2018, I found life coaching and got coach certified and started realizing the mindset piece of it. And it was so crazy
Mm.
because I even thought they're not going to be able to do this without me. And I moved my business, started growing my business online and helping people online, and it worked. Like combining the mindset with the practical actually worked. And I've just been growing and noticing and working through a lot more of the mindset piece of it. And all the ladies in my program, they're all like, Tracy, it's the mindset. It's the mindset that makes a big
Mm.
difference. And so that's been really fun for me to realize and just see what a difference people can make in their own life without people. Not that it's bad to have someone help you, that just speeds the
Yeah.
process up, but to really see that transformation from the inside.
Yeah. When you say mindset like that, what do you mean by that?
Yes. I think about what they believe about themselves. So the thoughts that they have, their
Mm.
identity. If they've always been told that they're a messy person, they're
Mm.
not going to create order. One of the ways I like to say it is you're not going to outperform your identity. So if
Mm.
you believe
Mm.
that you're messy, you believe you're always late, you believe all these things about you, then you're not going to be able to create the space that you want that's organized in your home. And if you could push or if someone could help you to do it, it won't stay that way until you really shift what you believe about yourself. Even mindset, like an example would be someone gave you a gift, and your mindset, your belief or thought is that you should keep gifts. It's kind of rude to let go of a gift.
Mm.
Mm.
That's mindset. So then you can kind of challenge that. Like, really, who told you that? Maybe it's rude to
Yeah.
keep something that you're not using. Maybe it's really irresponsible to have something in a closet that you don't use, and you want to be a generous person, an abundant person, and you want to let someone else use these things. Is that what you want to believe now, or do you want to believe that
Mm.
you shouldn't give away gifts?
Mm.
So that's a bit of the mindset as well.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so much of that comes from how we were raised too, right?
Mhm.
Like you were talking about the politeness or how often are we children and a parent will say like, we're going to go and visit Auntie so and so. Don't ask for anything. Don't if you need like, and so then it's all of a sudden like when you're little, you don't think to question, well, why can't I ask for something? Or then that moment when Auntie so and so goes to hand you a candy or hand you something, and then you kind of look up at a parent, think, well, may I say yes? Is it, or like, yes, you can go. So it's just so much of that is just it's either modeled for us or it's kind of imprinted
Mhm.
on us. And
Yes,
I bet
and
that's got to be hard to undo.
it is, and you don't realize it. That's what I think having a coach or a therapist or someone, a friend that can hear what you're saying and has permission to reflect that back to you, and you realize
Mm.
that. So one thing that came up recently in our group is a woman had a set of dishes from inherited from her grandmother or mother or somebody from Hawaii. Like they got it from Hawaii. So it was this Hawaiian set of maybe China or something.
Mm.
And one of the thoughts that we were exploring was that you have to keep a set of china together. Like that's proper. You should always keep the set
Mm.
together.
Mm.
And we were like, well, maybe not. I wanted to say it, but I almost felt like I was going to get in trouble by somebody. Like, maybe you don't need to do that. Like, if you want to display one plate, you could get rid of the rest. And then, or if you wanted one, so then the group, people shared
Mm.
different ideas. And one of them was they took the plates and they put a picture of the grandparents in the middle and like
Mm.
Mod Podged over it or something, and then gave it to all the cousins, like gave a plate to each cousin, which was such a
Oh,
neat idea.
I
And then
love that.
another person suggested calling like a local group from Hawaii, like a local group of Hawaiians, I guess, and seeing if anybody there would want them. But the lady said I really use the platter that has the like the triple layer platter or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, who says you have to keep it all together? Maybe you keep a couple of the pieces that you use and you let go of the other
hmm
ones. So it's just
Mm.
challenging these thoughts that we have that we think are proper or are right and just
Mm.
seeing like maybe not.
Yeah. It's kind
that's
of like
brilliant.
in therapy, one of the things that is really kind of a foundational thing is being able to reframe, right? So you're
Yeah,
kind of reframing the meaning of something and you're having people like have new meaning making around something or a belief system.
right. And
Yeah.
seeing, like, do I want that? Is it serving me in this moment? And as I go forward and as I'm trying to manage all the stuff that I've inherited or that I've somehow
Mm.
obtained, like,
Hmm.
what do I want to believe now to create the life that I want?
Mm.
Yeah.
What's the age range of women, and is it predominantly women that you work with? Do you work with men
I
as
have
well if they come to
two,
you?
yeah, I have two sides of my business. So one is for the home and it's only women and they're typically 50 and older. And I have a
Okay,
92-year-old, 93, maybe she just turned 93. She's our
good
all
for
of our
her.
inspirations. And so
Hmm.
we have a wide range of women and we're working on decluttering and organizing our home and just working on our identity around all of that. I
Mm.
also help business owners organize the back end of their businesses,
Mm.
online businesses usually, so digital files, time processes, and then I do a little bit of one-on-one. So that side of it has men occasionally, but mostly women are is who I work with.
Mm.
I absolutely love how you have taken, just as a female entrepreneur, how you took your model and how you said in 2018 you made it repeatable. And I think that I mean that is the way that we're taught to create something that you can maybe sell over and over, maybe without your having to be there. When you said earlier, that you didn't necessarily have to be there in the home to be able to
Yeah.
help somebody. I love that you were able to get to that space for yourself. It's super evolved.
Yes, it's been a whole journey. Like, just think how many years? 18 years now. Like,
Mm.
growing into that and trying a whole bunch of things and seeing what works and kind of playing with that and having fun, just being creative to be able to teach someone
Yeah.
and help them reach their own goals.
Mm.
Do you ever
Why
work
do
with
you?
younger women? Oh, I'm sorry, Nick. I keep
No,
talking over you
no, no,
today.
no,
I'm
no,
so
no,
sorry, sweetie. It's because you're
no.
50 now. This is what you
It's
do,
yeah, because
right? So now I'm just
yes,
railroading you. I'm so
50.
sorry.
No, I was going to say, why do you think, Tracy, that women in midlife are coming to you to kind of get their shit together?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do have asking if I work with younger. I do have some one-on-one clients that are younger and they're like business owners. So I'm helping on both sides of it.
Mm.
But the women that are attracted to that now, I think it's because they hit a point and they're in transition. So their kids are moving out, they
Mm,
have more time, they are ready to downsize or move, or, so many different reasons that bring them to the point where they're like, okay, it's my time now to deal
Mm.
with all this and to create
mm,
a space that I want to be in.
Mhm.
And I think also they think about their kids. And I had a client just recently, her father passed, and she was his caretaker for quite a while at the end. When I reached out to her and just said, "What can I do? How do you need what do you need?" She said, "Tracy, don't stop telling people to deal with their stuff. Don't leave
Mm,
their kids a mess. Just keep it. I mean, it's hard enough to grieve over the death, but then you have to deal with all the stuff." She's like, "Please keep telling people, deal with it and help them take
Mm.
care of it so they leave their kids." I like to say, leave your kids a legacy instead of a mess.
that's good. That'd be good
Mhm.
on a t-shirt, probably. You can start now, you
Mhm.
can start some merch. So that'd be
That's
great.
right.
So I'd love to use that as a segue to enter the conversation of how as adult children can we work with our families in a nourishing way that doesn't make them feel judged or managed or handled. Like, how do we'd love throughout this, and anytime, I mean, you've already done this, but anytime you have some tips and things like that that you want to
Mm,
throw out there, please. But I really would love to, and the word erased also feels important because I think that as we have parents who are also retiring, right? If they've done one thing for a long time, making sure that they don't feel less than in that area of their life, and then all of a sudden maybe start to feel less than because they're going to see their belongings being hauled away. So
Mhm.
how do we
yeah.
help? How do we be good kids?
I think, as always, you're the example. So you're doing it in your own life. You're talking about it, having conversations about it, sharing what you learn, what you're learning, things you let go of, exciting
Mhm.
stories. Like I donated this to a home that they're building for ex addicts, that they're going to support them, and
Mm,
you're talking about it and you're just saying it was gave me such pleasure to be able to give to that organization or that ministry. So I think always being the example comes first, but then asking, just having conversations about what do you want to do with that, what would you
mm,
do, what would be fun for you. Questions I'm asking myself lately, because we go
Mhm.
through a area of our home each month. And so
Mhm.
I'm doing the same. And when I'm in that area, I've been asking myself the question, does this item make me feel elevated?
Mm.
mm,
And the other part of that, I don't know, some people won't like this, but does it make me feel spoiled? Like I want
Mm.
to walk into my bathroom and open the cabinet and feel spoiled or elevated. Like the things that are in
mm,
there are the things I love and that I want in there, not just leftover bottles of 20 things that I bought, 2 months ago that I didn't like or didn't finish. No, I
Yeah.
want just the things that I love and use. And so with each area, it's like makes such a big difference. And so having those conversations with family members too, like how does this make you feel when you look at it? Start bringing in some of the emotions.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna go home and do that because
right?
it's so true. And my wife and I often, ask ourselves, does it feel expansive?
Ooh,
Right?
that's a
And
good
It's
one.
it's kind of similar to that elevated feeling. Does it feel
Yeah,
expansive or does it feel like it's constricting? And so um I think, gosh, you can do that in every single room. I'm
yeah,
absolutely gonna do that.
Yeah,
yeah,
with each item. And
Yeah.
then you have that filter, right? It's not just like, should I keep this?
Mhm.
Or, what should I do with this? It's like, does it make me feel elevated?
yeah.
And the other part of it, a lot of times, and I noticed myself this, I was just organizing something earlier in a piece, some clothing,
Mhm.
and it was like, ooh, but I might need that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's those thoughts of like, I could use that. What if I need it in the future?
Right.
And just thinking through that with the thought, I trust that I'll have everything I need right when I need it.
Yeah.
That was a helpful thought for me too, to be able to know if I do need this in the future, I trust I'll have it. And that'll be the fun part is seeing how it's provided. Like
Mm.
we had kids that for graduation parties, we would go to our neighbor and she had a punch bowl. So my mother-in-law made this special color of their school punch and we
Mm.
borrowed her punch bowl. So it was just a joy and she loved doing that. And I didn't
Yeah.
have to have a punch bowl to keep around my house. And so
Yeah.
things like that, it builds relationships with other people too. And you could think of it like that.
Mm.
I was listening when I got up, but I went over to get my handy dandy this planner that I've had since 2007 from Levenger that I love. Not a sponsor, not opposed. Love Levenger. But I have a quote that's taped to the front of it, and it says, "Have nothing that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful." That William Morris quote. And I
Um,
swear I have thought about that so like my whole life, the idea of you keep something if it's you could have a box for sentimental things. If you wanted to keep your sentimental things, you could put it, put it away. But
yeah.
truly have nothing out in your home that doesn't really bring you some joy. And so here's a question for you. Are you a proponent of touching the thing, handling the thing before you make a decision? Or is it for you, is it that open the cabinet in your bathroom moment when you were saying you want to see everything that's beautiful? Do you feel like we need to be making decisions based on a tactile feeling that we get from a thing?
I think that's probably individual. And I
Okay.
like to tell people test it because I don't know what's going to work best for you. So test that.
Mm.
Another way that I've done it with other clients that are really busy is I will lay everything. So the first step to organizing is always to sort. So I
Mm.
will sort for them. So they'll have all the categories and each category will be laid out so they can just come through and make decisions on it. Some people
Mm.
might not need to touch it.
Wow.
They can just
Yeah.
walk through and say,
Yeah.
no, no, get rid of, keep,
Yeah.
like that. So that's an easy way. So test these different things that you hear and see what works best. You're going to find what
Yeah.
works best for
Mm.
each of you.
Yeah. And I was actually having a conversation recently with my mom, and we were talking about photos and like the boxes and albums of photos that
I
just
know.
stay in the attic or
I
stay
know.
in the basement. And she asked me, she's like, why do we keep these? And I said, I don't know, Mom. Why do we? Let's talk about it. And I said, do you look at them often? And she's like, I can't remember the last time I opened the box and looked at those pictures. I said, okay. I said, do you want to get rid of them? She's like, well, I feel bad getting rid of them because they're
Mm.
memories, like you were saying before. And so it's interesting though with things like that, especially now in the age of like things being digital too, right?
Hmm.
We could scan all those, but she was almost looking for a little bit of permission to be
Mm.
able to let things like that go. Like, would you feel badly if I let go of these pictures? I was like, I don't give a shit what you do with those pictures because like I don't look at them
Right.
either. So it is so interesting, like from a sorting perspective too, to see like what are the things that are
Yeah.
laid out before us and going through each one of those. So
That's such a good conversation, though, that you guys had. That's fun to
Yeah.
hear that.
yeah.
And yeah, photos become, you could spend a lot of time organizing photos. So, what I like to tell people is decide the result that you want. Like
Mm,
Mm.
maybe it's you want all your photos down to one box that you can give each of your kids or,
yeah.
each of family members or whatever, or for you to enjoy. And then you would do things completely different than if you were to want to digitize everything and make digital albums.
Yeah.
So kind of think about, and you
Mm,
may not know what you really want, but start to think
Mm.
about that, what you want it, what your end result is.
mm, yeah.
So a question along those lines for both of you, really. We were, Nick, you're sharing that talk with your mom, like that was a peaceful talk and that was a loving
Mhm.
talk and an easier talk. What happens when a parent gets a little ornery about things? And for both of you, how do you deal with obstinance and how do you break through that in a kind and peaceful way? And what happens when it's not so kind and peaceful? What happens if the shit hits the fan and somebody has to yell and get mad?
Yeah. Well, I always think first, you cannot control another person. So you
Mm.
can request and have conversations and hope, you know, for that person to do what you want them to do, but ultimately releasing that because at some point you're going to be able to make that decision. If the parent
Right.
dies and you get the stuff,
Yeah,
you're going to
that's a
be able
good
to make
point.
that decision.
Yeah.
But one other thing I use, and it started out with kids, I would say, what's your favorite? So we've sorted things into categories. Now we go back through each category and we purge. And so part of the purging process, I think the first step and easiest step is to choose your favorites. Like if you
Mm.
could only pick one serving bowl or, whatever it is, one pair of pants, which one would you pick? And then pull that aside. That's keep for sure. And then you can start asking, okay, if I kept two more, or,
Mhm.
do these fit and try them on? Or just kind of going to the questions we all know about, like, have I used this? Is it working? Is it,
Sure.
all those things. Could someone else use it right now? Could I be generous and give it away? And then it's easier. So if you choose your favorites out of that, that's a good question to ask other
Mhm.
people. Like if you had to choose something out of here, which one would you choose? And that might
Right.
be helpful to have them kind of shift a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it also makes me think about, Jen, your question before, like how do you engage in these conversations like without bulldozing or without, or if you come up
Yeah.
to like resistance and things like that. Tracy, do you ever work with people who are like on the verge of or hoarders?
Yes. I mean, I don't specifically haven't worked with more than a few hoarders.
Yeah.
So people that kind of are in the classification of that
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
sure. And it takes longer. You're more
Yeah.
patient with that. And
Hmm.
it is really getting them to understand what they're thinking of. And I think by asking your favorites, it releases that tension that you feel. Like if I say, like one lady, I pulled a white t-shirt out of her closet, and if I would have asked her, "Do you want me to get rid of this or do you want to keep it?" She'd be like, "Of course, that's my white t-shirt. Of course I want to keep that."
Hmm.
But when we sorted, she had 19. And
Hmm.
she was like, "I do not know. I have 19 shirts and I don't need that
Wow.
many." So she was
Wow.
Yeah.
able then to choose her favorites out of that. But hoarding specifically would take a lot. I mean, we recommend they work with a therapist in addition to an organizer and
Mm.
really dig into what's going on with that.
Yeah. And it sounds like too that the combination though of you having, the life coaching skills and certification helps, like if they're paired with a therapist and it's like you guys can really collaborate
Yeah.
well together to make some movement. And I would imagine, yes, it's going to take much longer than a person who's like, all right, I'm ready to get rid of this, and this.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so many times, I mean, I think people joke about, oh, yeah, I'm a hoarder, like it's a mess in here. I
Hmm.
think so many times those transitions, like maybe having a baby or moving and not getting past it, or having a death that you've taken
Mm.
long, you just get so far behind, you've get frozen in that, and
Mm.
then it just builds up. And so some of it is easy to get going again if you have a
Mm.
plan and you know what you're supposed to do. But yeah, the other
Mm.
part, having that combination really is helpful.
Mm. Yeah.
So if we have listeners, we do have some listeners, by the way.
Mm.
We're new, but we do have listeners. Well, not just listener, our listeners, if we've got some folks who are hearing this and thinking, oh man, like that's where I am, or like I just had a baby, perhaps,
Mm.
or my sister just had a baby, or my I've got a mom who needs to downsize, or oh my gosh, I'm 50 and I need to downsize. Where do you start, people? And please use this if you wish to also talk about ways in which people could become involved with you, like find you. You mentioned a group. I know that you've got downloads on your website, things like that. So if they hear you and think, "Oh my gosh, like this is me. I need some help." What's step number one?
I always like to think about organization as a project. And so if you're choosing to work on organization as your project, decide a start date. Like decide a start and end date and then plan it like a project. So you are breaking it down. And that's what I've done in Organized Life Academy. That's my year-long program where we go space by
Hmm.
space through our whole house. And we have coaching calls to work on the mindset. We also have planning and expert guests that come in and share on their expertise. But it's really broken down to where you plan what you're going to do, you get it on your calendar or plan it out in a priority order list, and you block out time, and then you have a check-in. And so then you plan what you're going to do next and really think of it like that, where you're focusing on it. Maybe in Q2 or maybe next month you want to do an area and then choose what you're going to work on and then follow the organizing steps. And
Mm.
one of the ways that they can do that is by getting my 15-minute declutter challenge. It has the organizing steps in there, and I'll tell them right now too, but it has them in there and it explains it. And once you know these steps, you are going to be able to organize anything,
Mm.
including your time, your mental head space, your
Mm.
digital space, your everything. I use the same steps for every single thing.
Mm.
And so when someone's thinking about why am I not getting organized? Why am I not reaching my goals? That space between where they are now and where they want to go, it's either a mindset gap or a skill set gap or a combination mostly, most of the time, of both of those. And so the skill is following these steps and getting really good at the steps.
Mm.
Mm.
So to answer your question specifically, to start, I would pick a space, set a time on your calendar, and follow the organizing steps.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
simple. And you could start with your car or with a purse or with a junk drawer. I
Mm.
do a training where I have organized my neighbor's junk drawer in 15 minutes. I actually finished in 13. And so we could go put the other stuff away. But you can just get that practice going of doing that regularly.
Why
Nick,
does
so
it?
much of
I
that
have
sounds
I have a
like,
question.
sorry.
I'm sorry. The junk drawer. Why is it that a junk drawer always is so perfect after you organize it and then it becomes a junk drawer again? That
Yes.
is my question.
That's a great question. I think one person was like, I don't want to call it a junk drawer. I want to call it my handy drawer. So I like, and I teach people to give a purpose to the drawer.
Mm,
Like, this is the purpose of the drawer. This is what lives in the drawer. So notice if it gets messy again. I
yeah.
mean, everything gets messy, but notice if it's full of junk and other stuff that it's just there because does that stuff not have a home? Were you
Mm,
just in a hurry and you shoved stuff in a drawer to get off the counter? Or
mm,
is there, what is the reason that it's there? Because
yeah.
it's clutter is just delayed decisions. You haven't put it away where it goes. You haven't made a
Mm.
Mm,
decision where it
yeah.
lives.
Write that down, Jen.
Yeah, write it
That's
down.
that's it. That's the goal. You just did it, Tracy. Thank you for helping my job next week be easier when I have to write show notes. Clutter is delayed decision. That's merch
Yeah.
too. That should go on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And organization, we didn't even start with this. Organization is knowing what you have and being able to find it when you need it.
Mm,
Oh,
And that just
yeah.
kind of lets your shoulders relax
yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
like, I maybe am more organized than I think. It
Yeah.
might not look like a picture on Instagram, but
Mm,
I'm fairly organized. I can find things. I know where things are. Everything has a home. Most
yep.
things have a home.
Yeah. So it's not like striving for perfection, it's striving for a type of organization that actually works for you.
Yes.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
always call myself down to earth. Like my
Mm,
home does not look like a picture on Instagram because I use containers that I already have in drawers. I don't go buy the matching ones, or I don't have matching baskets because
mhm,
I already have something that works and it's worked for 15 years. I don't want to go spend money on new stuff just to
Yeah.
make it look pretty, which I could, like if I in
mhm,
areas I might want to, but that doesn't mean you're not organized if you don't have that.
mm,
I've always tried to tell my step kiddos since they were little that the reason that I like organization and the reason I like a tidy space is because I don't want to have to spend the mental time trying to find the thing or do the thing because that will take time away from the thing that I actually want to do. So if I
Yes.
always put my keys in the same place, or the mail always goes in the same place, or if our baking drawers where we keep all of the spoons and the measuring cups and all, if all of that stuff is all always goes back where it's supposed to be, then when I actually want to go and bake cookies, which is a hell of a lot more fun than emptying a dishwasher, like everything is exactly where I
Mm,
need it to be, and then I can do the fun thing faster.
mm,
Yes, I
They
love
haven't
that.
really, they haven't signed up for that yet, but I deeply believe that while the prefrontal cortex keeps baking, that someday, like through osmosis, all of this is gonna like make sense. I think they appreciate seeing it, but they don't like to do it in their own space. So
Yeah.
that is, but I think that's probably also a, oh, that actually brings me to like, what were your, did you, were you doing this type of work? You said that you had your first child at 28. Like, what are, do your kids like? Do your kids like organization? Like, do
Yes.
they, yeah.
Yeah, they're all, well, I have one at home still, but the rest of them are moved out. Two of them are married. And yeah, they are all fairly neat. I have one that's extremely organized, like very loves order, and one that would consider themselves, um, they have the ability, they know what to do, but then it gets messy. And so I would say that's still kind of organized, but
mm,
their space gets messier, easier in the rush of things.
In the
But
rush of life.
so someone called that something once. I can't remember what it was. It was such a good term, but now I can't remember. I was like, that's you. Like, that's what you are. And she would agree.
So much of what you described earlier about the, picking a start date or and just a lot of the mental self-talk that we or the stories that we tell ourselves that we get sucked into. Nick, it reminded me of like a lot of what Tracy was saying felt like it could be advice for people who want to exercise too, for
mm,
people who
Mhm.
want to start looking at movement for longevity's sake, because
mm,
such a passion of yours and
mhm.
just the work that you do in your like in your private life, in your body, just how you are. So much of it sounded similar. Like when
Mm,
Tracy was describing that, it was like you could have been saying that if you were going to work with someone on developing an exercise routine, or just there's so
yeah,
much good mental building blocks that can be put in place before the execution of an exercise program, or for Tracy,
right.
like you, an organizing program. It was
Yeah.
interesting to hear the similarities.
Yeah, it's also like, when you think about it in that type of metaphor, somebody who's training for a marathon isn't going to go out and run 26 miles tomorrow, right? What they're going to do is they're going to start, if they've never run before, they're going to run a quarter mile. And then they're going to run a half
Yeah.
mile. And then they're going to have these milestones, kind of like you were saying, Tracy, like what's put a date on the calendar, what's the milestone, and and it's practice too, like that's the other
Yeah.
part of it. It's working. What you're describing also is working a new muscle for a lot of people, and so for
Hmm.
that muscle memory to be there, I would imagine it has to take some time and commitment outside of the work that they do specifically with you.
Yes. Yep. And that's what they have a plan, then we can come back and talk about it. But it does so relate. I am
Mm,
always using the example of food. A lot of times it's more food. But what's
mm,
interesting with exercise, like I have never liked exercise. I've
mm,
always disliked it. I'm inconsistent. I have all these thoughts about myself. And recently I'm like, I've been consistent the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years if I look at it.
mm,
Like there's some gaps in certain spots, but I'm I started thinking, why am I not thinking of myself as someone who's consistently working out?
mm,
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 And then another shift that just came, someone was talking about time, an expert guest in our Organized Life Academy, and she said, we have to start saying, I have time, which I
mm,
loved that. But she showed us these blocks, and the morning block was called fill up. That was your fill up. And then the three blocks next were pour out. And then the evening was fill up, another fill up block. And I saw, oh, in that morning fill up, I have work out. And I thought to myself, I've never considered working out filling up myself. I've always thought of it as yuck, I'm draining myself.
Mm.
And just this morning, I started thinking, I am
Wow.
filling myself up. I did a training video and I was lifting and it was hard. And I was like, this is filling me up. Just thinking about it differently it just felt so sweet to myself. And I like
Mm.
started feeling
Mm.
like I enjoyed it. So same thing with organizing. When you start realizing this could be like this beautiful process that you're going through and you're taking care of yourself and you're being so kind to create a beautiful space for you to be present in, it started feeling, I mean, it could start feeling so different than like, ah, I'm terrible at making decisions and this is so hard. That could
Yeah.
be like a fill up time, which was
Yeah.
neat to think through.
Mm.
You Tracy'd yourself. Like it's brilliant. I mean, and how amazing that you also kind of did it on the sly. You didn't even see yourself coming.
I
Mm.
know. Yeah, it's those things where you recognize like,
I love
whoa,
it.
I never
I
thought
love
of
it.
that.
Mm.
Nick, I know that we're approaching our
Mm.
end time when we have to stop. Would you like to, since Tracy was talking about food before, would you like to ask the question that we always like to
Yes.
try to ask?
Our question for every guest, Tracy, is what is the one food that you could eat every single day and not tire of?
Oh gosh, you're asking me this, and I am a person who loves new things. I always want to eat something new. I always want to go to a new restaurant. My friends tease me because I don't want to read the same book to my kids when I was little twice. Like all my kids are like, "We never even read that book." And I'm like, "I'm sure I read it once."
Once.
So, food-wise, that's so hard. I mean, I guess I would probably say eggs just because you can cook
Oh,
them in many different ways and they're protein and yeah,
delicious.
that's the first thing that
Perfect.
came to my mind. So
I love
many
that.
varieties of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that.
I love it. Nick,
Has
do you want
anyone
to
ever
share what
said
yours
eggs?
is?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
well, um, I don't know. Has anybody ever said eggs?
I mean,
I think both Nick and I would have said eggs at another
Hmm.
point in our lives
Yeah.
when our
Hmm.
bodies didn't reject them the way they
mm,
do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
that,
Bloody messy
I
middle
know. They don't
midlife. Like
agree.
it's no more. That used to
that's
be,
No.
that was,
interesting. That's what I
Hmm.
wonder if is happening with me. Like,
oh
Hmm.
yeah.
no, really?
Well, I don't
Oh, we're
know.
sorry for your
I've
loss.
started been trying to like notice breakfast foods especially and how it's affecting things. And so I don't know. I've thought of that or I thought maybe it was the dairy if I ate dairy.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are
If I
yours?
if I could choose one that I ate every single day, but that I currently don't eat every single day because it doesn't necessarily agree with me, it would be just a really good homemade sourdough bread.
Oh,
Mm,
yes.
Mm. In all the ways, avocado toast,
yeah.
just with a little butter, peanut butter, like you name it.
Yeah.
Plain, but a homemade, delicious sourdough.
Dude,
Mm.
speaking of the sourdough that you bought last weekend from
Yeah.
the Whole Foods in Westport, I would
Yeah.
assume. Should we give a
Hmm.
shout out to Whole Foods in
There you
Westport?
go.
Not a sponsor, not opposed.
Yeah.
Um, that was truly some of the best sourdough bread I have ever had.
Oh,
It
wow.
was tremendous. Fire
Wow.
Atlas, Fire something
Mm.
bakery that it came from.
Oh,
It was
wow.
truly spectacular to the point where
Okay.
I asked Parker, I had a slice of it the other night, and I had said, "Hey, that bread that Nick bought you is really wonderful." And he said, I thought so in the moment, and I was going to say something, but so we'll have to
Aw.
look it
Excellent.
up. Yeah,
What's
we'll
yours,
have to
Jen?
look it up. Oh gosh. So it's so the food that I have eaten the most almost every day. And I don't know that if it's because I don't know if the thumbs up just went up on our screen. I don't know if it's the thing that I love the most, but I have apple cider vinegar every single day.
Oh,
I put it in a smoothie, or I put it in water, or I have completely sold myself a solid story that I'm a better human being and better on the insides for my bloody apple cider vinegar.
is
So
it
it's
one
so boring.
tablespoon or how much?
A glug,
Oh,
like a couple
no measure.
tablespoons, probably. No real.
Oh,
Mm.
I have it decanted in a I have it decanted in a glass bottle that says apple cider vinegar with a cork label on the front of it. That's,
oh, wow.
hashtag
Yeah,
organizing
Jen is one
nerd,
of
nerd.
the most organized humans I've ever met. And every time I'm at her house, I leave there wanting to go home and get all the labels and get all the glasses to put my spices and to do all, because it is so beautiful to walk into her
That's
spice
so kind.
cabinet. Oh, it's so great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tracy, my husband wishes that I was more like you with using the containers that I can find around the house to like put things in, because if I had a soft spot, if I had a weak spot for purchasing things other than also good food, and I do have a penchant for nice handbags, it's containers to put pretty containers to put things in. So yes,
I love that.
I
You'll have
am
to post some
guilty.
pictures of your beautiful spices and
Oh
Oh, it's
goodness.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Tracy, where can people find you? If they're looking for you, where can they find you
Yeah.
online? And do you have newsletter? I know you have a podcast. So tell our listeners where they can find you.
yes, go listen to the podcast, the Organized Coach podcast. I talk about business and home organization type
Hmm.
stuff on there, a lot of mindset stuff. And then my website is simplysquaredaway.com/declutter. Go there and get the 15-minute declutter challenge.
Cool.
That's awesome. And I love the
Wonderful.
name, Simply Squared Away. Because I feel like growing up, if you're a human of a certain age, you would hear your parents or your
Yeah.
grandparents, like it's like certain phrases like, are things up to snuff? And, are we squared away? Are we all square? Like, and I
Hmm.
sometimes fear that those phrases are going to fall by the wayside because I loved them so much. But I do love the name of your company. It's wonderful.
Thanks. Yeah.
Awesome.
This has been such a total pleasure. I'm so hopeful that some of our listeners will feel seen and heard, and also
Definitely.
just the practical ideas that you gave for being good grown children as we help our families navigate whatever these next moves are, and the downsizing and all of that, and doing it with some grace and doing it kindly. And
Yes.
I really loved listening to the two of you talk, because I feel like there's so much psychology with
Mm.
what, obviously, with what Nick does, but also behind
Mm.
your mindset and everything that you do, Tracy. So
Yeah.
it was really neat to make those connections between health and body and mind.
Mm.
You were both great to listen to.
I love it.
Thanks,
Thank you all
Jen.
so much for having me
Yeah.
on. This has been fun
Yeah.
to talk about and just think through different scenarios and see what we want to do and believe and how we want to help other people in the process in our family and all of that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so.
much. We will
Until
find
next
you.
time.
You got it.
Bye.
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 Well, that was delish. Thanks for pulling up a chair with us at Women Around a Table Eating Food. You can find us here bi-weekly, so if you loved today's conversation, hit follow wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube or Instagram at Women Around a Table, and share it with a friend, because there's always room for more at our table.